Welcome to the Altura Podcast. I'm Adrian Huerta, here with Diego and Eduardo of Altura as well. But we have a special guest. We just had a show, El Album, from an artist from Bakersfield. Very talented human being. If you've seen his work, or even if you probably have seen his work and didn't even notice you saw his work. But, he posted up in Altura, trusted us with his work, and had an amazing opening. A director, a painter, a collector, an observer, a YouTube watcher, because I guess that's where all the knowledge comes from. But yeah, making the trek all the way from Bakersfield, we got El Oms.
Sheesh.
Yo,
what's up, dude?
thanks, man. Thanks for
Boss.
having me. Thanks for having me here in the podcast and your space. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, man. Sorry for the misdirections. Thanks for hanging out at my house for 40 minutes.
It's all good. No worries. I have my boy, so we're chilling. My homie, I'm here with my homie Dan.
Oh, cool. So you took your homie to my house with
Yeah,
kids
hey, man. Future. He's my future. What do you call it? What's that you say? Guarura. Nah.
Escolte.
Escolte. He's my future escolte.
Guardaespaldas.
There you go. Guardaespaldas. Bodyguard.
The Kevin Costner to your Whitney Houston.
Yep.
This is great. This is great. But dude, no, thank you for dropping in. We love you, we respect you. You're a homie. Your work is phenomenal. The stuff on the wall is extraordinary. It's beyond what you've done before, but also a major take on what you've done before because of your branding and your work and your consistency. So I could, you can kind of tell when you walk in, this is an El Oms show, but this is like the next level of El Oms, or that's the way I feel.
El Oms 2.0 or what, 8.0?
Nah,
I don't know.
That was a 5.0. That was a G.
No, honestly, dude, it's funny. We were having a podcast before this podcast with my boy Dan outside your house. We were talking. I was telling him, I was like, "Yo, dude," we were just talking about how people come up so fast in this new era of apps and YouTube. And I was telling him, I was like, "Man, when I came out, dude, I did pretty good, and a lot of people started hiring me, and I did a few shows. But the only reason why I did some of those shows, except for the first show, but the other ones, was just really to say, hey, I'm still here as in El Oms, not El Oms working for, whatever. It was really just for that, man. But this show, man, I want to say that this is for sure, man. This is like me. Like, this is El Oms. Like, this is me. You know what I mean? I'm not saying like, hey, I'm still here around. I'm more like, welcome to my world. This is me. You know what I mean? Like, this is the stuff I worked on, before this, before the paintings, and what I used to do, what's in the hallway, just ink on paper, and then the new stuff, which is really me, man. Like a painter. That's really, at least with this, with this style. Like, I feel like that's a size I can take it. At least I do I do sculptures or anything like that. But yeah, man, this show for reals, it felt like me, like welcome to my world. You know what I mean? Everything else, I felt more like, hey, I'm still here. Don't forget about me. Like, I know you like the shit that I'm doing with bands and the other people, but that was mainly why I was doing the other shows, man. This one, especially because during the lockdown and everything that happened, it gave me time to work on some of these paintings and ideas. So yeah, man, I really appreciate the space. Like, I was able to show this, and it really pumped me up to what's next, because it's just gonna get better and better. So thank you, guys.
No, thank you. We appreciate you coming in and wanting to share all this work with us, because you get a little bit of like every part of what you're talking about here in this show. You have your classic, work with bands, musicians, DJs. You have your classic ink on paper, and these newer, bigger works, which are paintings. And you're painting on acrylic, or using acrylic on canvas.
Right.
And how was that switch for you? Because that's kind of like taking it to the next level.
Well, yeah. I used to use paint back in the day, but now with these characters, I think because these characters are like so simple compared to the stuff that I used to do, like back in 2008, it was more like landscape or the female body. So there's a lot of shading. There was a lot of try to get it to where it looks like it's a real skin. What compared to these are just layers. They're flat. So I had to do a couple of layers on the same, painting. And I know it sounds like, oh, it could be easy, but you probably know it. It's still a challenge. It's still like, damn, you still got to make sure that layer, covers everything well. So, yeah, man, it was fun. It was really fun, honestly, to go back to brush and using it with these characters. So, yeah, man, it was dope. It was really dope. I mean, I kind of learned a little bit, for sure too, like how to use the brush a certain way because, again, like I said, it's flat. It's not, you're not creating shade, right? Ed? Is that?
Yeah, and I'm sure you're using like bigger brushes, and
right,
you're going through more, working with more paint, handling more paint to cover a bigger area.
Wait, so then this is the biggest version of I guess drawing or painting that you've done? I mean, they're big. Like the pieces are what, like maybe 7 feet,
something
6
like
feet
so,
big, and then wide, like maybe about 8 feet. But I noticed that in the back of Altura, you have all of the sketches and all the smaller things. So, and I'm not familiar with the size indifference, but so in the back, this is what you used to do, and then the front is actually newer, bigger things.
Yeah. But that's the stuff that I wanted to do when I first started the style. But then I got busy, working with bands and like DJs and artists and just things like that. So like I said, I think the lockdown kind of helped for that because I was like, okay, I need to do what I wanted to do at the beginning. But then I got, busy with doing animation and all that shit. So yeah, man, this is for sure something I've been wanting to do forever. But I don't know if I was ready back then, man. I think I learned a lot in the last couple of years. So yeah, I think that's why I feel like this is the one for sure, man.
Tell us a little bit about the name of the show. El album. Tell us a little bit about sort of just music in general and its presence in your work. What was the thought behind that?
Wait, I said it wrong? It's El Album?
You
make me feel like an asshole.
No, I think he just said it with accent, I think, like Mexicano, like
Right.
El Album.
Yeah, so I'm an asshole. I said it wrong.
Me salió el país.
You said
to
it,
the same thing.
he said it a little more like El Album.
It's all good.
You use Spanglish. That's okay.
Yeah.
That's
All right,
accepted
cool.
here.
That's what it was.
Cool.
So El Album it's just a song by a band called Aterciopelados. And what I do is when I come up with when I think I know that I'm gonna have a show, it's always hard to come up with names. So I always think of a song that will remind me of what I'm doing, like, oh, if I'm working on a specific theme, then I listen to songs that might have that theme or around that theme. And I just name it whatever song I like at that time, So the El Album is a song by Terciopelados, and the song talks about, I know it's kind of aggressive, it's a little too extreme, but it's they're saying like el álbum de mi cabeza solo con fotos tuyas se queda. So it's I don't know how to translate that. It's too beautiful to translate. I don't know. I don't want to mess it up, but it's kind of like pictures of you stay in my head, something around that. And
so El Album's kind of like a photo album
of things that I went through, things that I used to like the music, the banda and all that shit that I grew up with in Tijuana. So it was one of those songs that kind of was like, it's beautiful. Like, she's saying El Album, the album in my head only with photographs of you is filled, and she explains in the song like how even if they're getting wasted, I still have the negative, so I can always reprint a new one. And it was just dope. I just really liked that song a lot. So I started thinking of where this idea came from, and it was really from listening to music I grew up with and just adding a new touch to it too, like the psychedelic touch to it. So
that's super interesting because I when I read the name, I thought you were talking about El Album like a musical album.
Me too.
And a lot of your work does kind of have music, if not in the center, like a big presence. And so that's sort of what it's cool. I enjoy hearing that.
Yeah, no, that's funny. I didn't think about that. El Album, yeah, like the album,
like the album, the one that I play. Like even the quote that you said almost could be. It's like the album of the musical. I don't know. You know what I'm talking about?
For sure. Yeah. That's funny, dude. Yeah, I didn't even think about that. the music, dude, for sure is like, I think I want to say is the number one inspiration behind my work. When I hear a song, I always try to think of like, even with sounds or lyrics, I'm like, how can I translate that, to my work? How would I do it with art, but sometimes, like lyrics are, the song can have so many lyrics and quotes and stuff like that, but always attached to one word, and that's the one that drives the painting. And when it's music, it's just like if it's instrumental, I'll just picture colors or shapes and stuff like that, So for sure, man, music has a big, big inspiration. It's in that weird way where like if I hear a song and it's just one thing, like right now I have a shirt coming out soon that is inspired by a song. It's not by Chalino, but he sings it. Corazoncito Tirano, I think I posted it. And it was just that. That's all it was. And around that word, I created, this whole image. But yeah, man, it's weird. It's weird how music influences me a lot.
For sure. I also think one of the things that jumps out when you walk into Altura to see your show is the colors that you chose. You obviously experience music in this certain way that you then want to translate into your art, and you really do kind of communicate a lot of emotions. Tell us about those colors, those emotions.
The drugs
for sure. Yeah, man, I think it has to do for sure with that, like, a little bit of drugs and a little bit of, not necessarily
inspiration.
It drives it. For sure, it drives the inspiration.
Motivation.
You should make that into a shirt. Motivation.
He's a motivational speaker.
Yeah, man. I think is for sure is like I was saying earlier, man. Is just the music, man. I don't know. I'm a big fan. Like in the last 2 years, man, I've been listening to a lot of old school singers like Jose Alfredo Jimenez, Los Relámpagos, all these OG dudes, man, that that created or wrote songs that only someone in Mexico would have wrote that. You know what I mean? Like it's a trip, dude. Like, because you pay attention to the words and the way they're putting it together, and you're like, somebody from Chile or Cuba or Colombia, it wouldn't sound like that. You know what I mean? Because they had to be Mexican and know some of the slang or some of the words we use as Mexicans. So I've been paying attention to that shit a lot, and that's, again, I don't write, dude, but how can I translate it to my work? Like, how can I make it where, like, you see it and you're like, oh, only a Mexican guy would have, painted this, because there's a guy who fucking plays accordion and it looks like a norteño, and there's you know what I mean? But it still has that psychedelic flavor to, like, I feel like it's inviting to people. So, yeah, man, it's weird how that, I don't know if that makes sense when I know it's lyrics, but then I'm translating, with pain and images. It's weird. I don't know, man. So that's where I get all my inspiration.
Absolutely. I mean, that goes from the front, and then you come down the middle of Altura, and you have, there's still musical references, being that your drawings are on 12-inch sleeves. Why put those up on the side, and why on used 12-inch sleeves?
I don't know. I mean, Ed here, he's the one who really kind of made the decision where things were going to go. And it's funny because it made a lot of sense, dude. Like, I was like, damn, you got down, bro. That shit. A lot of people were like, oh, I see what you did. And I'm like, nah, I didn't do that. That was all Ed, I think
no, we both worked on it. We did a walkthrough.
Yeah,
we talked about it.
A lot of it was his idea. He's too nice. He's being nice. he and it made a lot of sense. I was like, yeah, dude, like this right here is this shit that I started doing. Then you can kind of see, what I do to ink on paper, and then the new things that's moving forward is all paintings from now on, So, yeah, man, I don't know why they're, for sure, it's the one, like I said, but. What was your other question? It was why the sleeves?
Why on the 12-inch sleeves? Yeah.
Oh,
and you obviously use ones.
Yeah, yeah. Is I don't know, man. I'm just again with music, I collect records, and I like the way the sleeves look, and I never really seen anybody use use those sleeves as, you know, as I mean, I have seen people, but they're probably like goofing around in the 70s, and I've seen that, but they never said like, I'm going to use this as a canvas, you know. I've never seen that. Like I've seen art on sleeves, but not because they were saying this is a canvas, you know. But the way I'm using it is like, yeah, I want to use it as a canvas. The more dirtier, the better, you know.
Yeah, you have some really nice like weathering and like stains. You know, it gives a really nice texture. Like, you know, that what that paper feels like just looking at it. Like, I'm a big fan of like that old Manila paper. Like, actually, speaking of El Album, I found this old album at a Goodwill, and the whole book was all Manila, like worn paper like that, just pages after pages, and the texture's like very, like, you know, delicate, very fragile.
Yeah.
No, I mean, those are beautiful. But then like to walk through, and then you kind of walk to the back wall at Altura, and you have your more prominent pieces, the stuff I think that most people would know you for. You know, all the musicians you worked for and with, the labels and the special nights within the bands, and I recognize all this stuff. You know, why bring in the older pieces? Is this to kind of help people, remind people, hey, this is what I'm known for?
For sure. Yeah, for sure. I think because like you were saying earlier, I think there is people that I know. I heard people, you know, when not this show, but I know on other shows when I brought some of this stuff just to show people kind of like who I am, you know, besides this. I know some people are like, oh, he did that? Oh, I didn't know that was him. Oh, you know. So it's kind of cool. That way they can, like I said, you know, before I've been really busy doing stuff for other bands and DJs and groups and labels. But yeah, man, I think, you know, just for that, so I can show people like, yeah, you know, I've been around a little bit.
The thing I wanted to ask you about your work and that I really love is that, like, I'm looking at this wall here with all these, you know, musicians and labels and bands that you've worked with. But in a lot of these compositions, there's like narratives, there's stories happening here. And, you know, it really makes you think about like the work. You know, Hermanos Gutierrez, like these dudes are back to back, like they're there, they have each other's back, you know. I don't know, is there something you could tell us about some of the stories happening in some of these works?
Yeah, dude, it's funny. I'm glad you see that. That's dope. Thanks, Ed. Only you, Ed. Yeah, man. It's funny. I was talking to this dude last month. He's also an artist, and he was asking me like, you know, hey man, like, how long does it take you to do an image? And I'm like, oh, dude, it takes me a long time. He's like, oh man, I'm glad you say that. He's like, because, you know, I'm not gonna lie, like it does look like you're just, I don't know how he said expressed that. I said like shitting or farting it out or something like that. He said like it looks like it's, you know, they're just coming together, out, like right away because they're simple as all. I'm glad because I do the same. It takes me a while. I'm like, yeah, man. You know, my process, I think the reason why they look like that, like they look like they're telling a story or there's movement or there's certain poses, is because I do research on one image, you know, like at times people don't understand that because it's so simple, but nah, man, I watch movies, I listen to albums, I read a book, not a whole, but you know, just areas that I remember, chapters that I wrote down that I'm like, oh, okay, I got to read this chapter. So it refreshes my memory on a specific thing that I read that I liked, you know, that maybe one day I was like, okay, maybe I can create something out of that. But yeah, man, I think that's probably why, dude. Maybe because I put a lot of time into one image. You know, if it's going to be like, for example, that Noche Románticas, you know, dude, I think I watched like fucking, I don't know how many videos, but for sure a whole night of just quebradita, you know, videos on YouTube. And then I finally came up with that pose and just the way she looks and the hand. And, you know, that took me like a whole day just to come up with that image.
So on that one, what version is that? Like, how many drawings did you go through to get to that?
Probably 5. Because I already had like an idea. Like, I was like, that's the pose, you know? So it's in my head clear. But to get it that clear, like, I had to, you know, watch, you know, quebradita videos for the whole night, you know? And all day I was just like, you know, just like I said, like going back to the usual books or videos or movies and try to find something if something hit. And then I was just like, all right, I'm going to go to quebradita videos. I don't know if that's going to help, but yeah.
And what I got to ask you, which one's harder? collaborating with other musicians and artists to kind of get these kind of flyers or music videos done, or you working by yourself?
Artists for sure, man. Because we're all artists, and it's hard, because you have an idea, they have an idea, and then you got to respect their idea because, is their album, is their T-shirt, is whatever. So you got to respect that and be like, all right, cool. At least they listen this far, which is maybe like a 90-80%, and their 20% is like, yeah, don't do that. And it's like, all right, cool. They respect it a lot because a lot of these artists do this like. I get crazy freedom, but that's still that 10%, 20% is always like, oh, maybe we should do, maybe, and I never have that with my work. My work is I'm like, oh shit, maybe I should have made the 8 a little bit straighter. But other than that, like, I know exactly what I'm going to paint or what I'm going to do. So I don't have a lot of back and forth in my head. Like, oh. And with artists, I do, I'm always like, what do you guys think of this? Oh, that's cool, but blah, 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 And I'm like, shit, I like it the way it looks. But okay, I get it. They're the ones who's going to sell it. I'm not, I'm just getting paid for it. So I got to respect that. And, especially knowing, like I said, they give you a lot of freedom. So
on the larger works, there's 2 large paintings of these bands. I just want to know a little bit more about like those bands, like the stories that I'm saying that I see in your work. It's like, well, what is this band? Who are they? Where do they come from? Like, can you tell us a little bit about that?
About like, for example, like
the larger works of the bands.
Oh yeah, like the Chicano Batman and the Arcs one?
No, the ones in the front room.
Oh, the front room. Sorry, I thought we were still talking.
Who are these bands?
Oh, my paintings.
Is there stories behind these bands that you painted?
Yeah. So
did you make them up, or is there like
Right. Yeah. So the whole idea, dude, with those paintings was, I was listening to Café Tacuba. They have an album called Revés, and one of the CDs is all instrumental, and they were using like electronic music mixed with like native, samples or things they heard when they were in Oaxaca or something, and they record it, and then they mix it with like electronic music. And I play that album like all the time, but that year, dude, it just fucked me up. I don't know why. I was like, this album's telling me something, and I think it was this. It was these paintings, dude. It's like mixing, something traditional, which is like banda or norteña, and just think of like if these bands, were using, classic instruments and making psychedelic music, like how would that sound? Or shit, man, how are they dressed? How are they gonna look?
Yeah.
And that's what I came up with. That's how in my head, that's how a psychedelic banda band or a norteña band would look like, because I feel like we always like, what Café Tacuba was doing was more taking that and bringing it to their world. And we hear that a lot, in a lot of bands, like North Collective too, from Tijuana, those dudes fucking, that's what they do. They kill it, man. Like they bring all these traditional, mix it with electronic. And at the end of the day, it's more electronic, and that's dope. But I was like, well, shit, what if, the sample they are sampling, what if that those guys were making it, how would that sound? And I think it will be more norteño than more electronic, That's the only difference.
My question kind of reverts to branding and I guess kind of your identity, artist-wise. You and I think this is the elephant in the room. You obviously have characters that have like very specific attributes to their body, more their face, more their nose. But is there a name to those things? I mean, the black nose synonymous with your work. I mean, that's just you've been doing that for years, right? Years and years. Where does that come from, and does it have a name?
It doesn't have a name. I don't know. It doesn't have a name for sure, but it came from, it was, I want to say 2012 maybe, when, I've been doing art for a long time, but then I stopped because at some point I was like, I don't have a style. Like I really don't have a style to tell the stories that I want to tell. So I kind of stopped for a while. And then it was 2012, I think. And I was working with a good friend of mine at that time named Eric. We still hang out, still a good friend. And it was around Halloween. I think it was October. And we were talking about how, like, back in the day, like how cholos used to dress, like real clean with the hair slicked back. And we were like, yeah, man, it was a dope style, you know. Like, I really didn't like the whole bald and baggy. Like, I always remember my primos or my brothers, you know, dressing like those dudes. And I'm like, yeah, those guys look fucking dope, you know, like fitted and hair back. So he's like, yeah, man, I remember that too. And my friend Eric's from Whittier. So he was like, yeah, dude, I remember that. And then after that story, we were hanging out in the truck in our break, and I started drawing, you know, cholos. And then it was around Halloween, so I was like, you know, let me give this guy like some hair, like make him look like the werewolf. And then, after that, my friend saw it, Eric, and he was like, yo, dude, that looks kind of fresh, man. Like, you know, maybe you should push that. That looks kind of cool. So I was like, all right, cool, man. And then I started just playing with it more. And then he was like, yo, won't you open an Instagram account? And I was like, what is that? And he's like, oh, started explaining to me what it was. I was like, cool, hell yeah. And then once I opened the Instagram account, people started liking the character. And then I was like, that's kind of dope, but I need to do a girl version of the werewolf, you know. And she was really hairy, and he was really hairy too. And then I started toning it down. And then out of nowhere, man, it was one Halloween, girls started sending me pictures, you know, of themselves dressed as like one of the characters. And then they had the nose. For some reason, it was something about the nose, dude. I don't know. I couldn't tell you what it was, but a lot of people started like just doing the nose. And then I started toning the hair down to where it doesn't look like a werewolf anymore, you know? So now I don't know, man. I don't know what they are, like I said, but I know that nose needs to go on my characters all the time because people connected with it. I don't know. You know? I mean, I don't have it.
That's very synonymous with all your work. I mean, it's in the front room.
Right.
It's through the hallway, and then it's all the way to the back. But this is also in your music videos and all the animations you've done. I've always had that question. I was like, where did this guy come up with this, and how did it happen? It's beautiful, but also I know who that is. You know,
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know it was a werewolf. That's
Yeah, no, it started with like a werewolf, but it was just super hairy, and
right.
I toned it down, and the same with the girl. It was a lobita with a bunch of hair, and toned that shit down. So.
I think for me, it kind of conjures up just kind of my take on it. I could be completely off, but it's kind of like these characters that you create and these stories that you're telling. It adds something visual or like that reminds us of like maybe like a puppy or like something kind of sweet, and because it doesn't look necessarily like you're making them vicious or anything like that. It's like you're giving them sort of like something that's likable, and maybe if I could say cute and just fuzzy, like you wanna kind of hang out with this person. like I want to hang out with my dog, you know? It's like
they look
I don't
very
know,
vulnerable, like.
There's a softness to it. But also like they're grown men in a band, or it's a boxer, or you know, cholos, or it's these characters that don't necessarily conjure up that idea of being cute and soft, but you make them that way, so it makes people kind of more attached or more. Yeah, like what's up with this guy? Like, why do I think this cholo kind of cute right now? Like, you know what I mean? I want to kick it with him. Like.
Yeah, it's funny. I think what it is, dude, is I try to find positions at times, like the way people stand at times. It could be really tough. Or if they do move their hip a little bit, bring the shoulder down. Now they look like, they don't look like they did when they were standing a certain way. So I think of that stuff too a lot. It's like, I think the girl will look better if she's to the side, you know, and it's just weird things like that. I think that might be it, and it's working, and that's dope because for sure, you know, like the one I did for Latinos con Sol, the one, you know, how the guy's kind of has his shoulder up a little bit. It almost tells you like, he's looking at somebody or he's about to call somebody because, you know, it's just a weird position. Like you wouldn't stand like that. So it almost looks like it's motion, like he's about to do the next thing. So I always try to go for that, not still like, you know, I wouldn't go like, this guy's just standing. It's almost like, it looks like it's motion. And I think I might have learned that actually, that I'm thinking about it is with the animation, because, you know, every step is a motion, is a movement. And I always see certain things and I'm like, I didn't see that, but that's dope. That's a good position, you know? So maybe it comes from that, dude. Because yeah, I hear that a lot. I hear it from people.
I think it kind of speaks to a little bit of your sort of like love for the culture that you're portraying. Like you feel like you're drawn to it. You're super interested in the heart and soul of it, and you want other people to be interested in it. So it's I see it that way. It's really awesome.
Cool. Thanks, man. That's dope. I'm glad you see that, because I do, like I said before, put a lot of work, and sometimes people catch little things of like, oh, that's cool. You put that there. That's kind of cool. I wouldn't think you would do something like that. And I don't know. Even like I'm looking at right now, the Chicano Batman, how the waves at the bottom, like, dude, I know it looks so easy and they look probably ugly, but to get those waves, like it's like movement, you know what I mean? Like I couldn't make waves just shooting up. Like I had to be like, okay, one's going here. Okay, that's not gonna work. So I'm glad you see that, because yeah, dude, it is motion, it's movement. It just has to make sense for the eye too.
So I'm actually more of like a marketing promotion mindset, and committing to an idea to me is scary. Right, because once you commit to it, it's like, okay, it's all out there to the world to have. For you to commit to just a nose and evolve it and just say, okay, this is mine. I'm just going to keep doing it. Is to me it's impressive, but also kudos to you for just locking in and saying that this is mine. At any point, were you scared? Were you scared to say,
yeah,
I'm going to do this?
Yeah, because, at times it was like, damn, I wonder if people are going to be like, that's cheesy. He's just making it cute, like stupid, But, I just, after that, I was like, nah, I got to push it. People are liking it, But, I never thought they were going to look cute, And I think the nose helps a lot. But, and then the shapes too, like the way, their faces are. But, yeah, man, I was for sure scared. I was like, damn, I wonder, should I be hard? Should I be more creepy, more realistic? Yeah,
it's hard for creatives to just say and commit to something like that. It's tough. So, but I think you got over it though, because
for sure
you made one in the front that's about 6 feet tall. So I think you're comfortable now.
No, I did, man. I got over it quick. I think when it was one night that I after doing it for a while, just saying, yeah, I'm just gonna do, because when I came up with the style, I was already drawing, so. But I stopped for like maybe a year or two. I don't remember. But I knew how to draw already. So when I opened the Instagram, I was mixing it up because I was too scared to just show that character. I was like, are people going to like it? So I was mixing it up. I was a little scared. I was like doing realistic girls, and people really didn't care for that. And then I would do one of these characters that looked more simple, not with shading the way I was doing with some of the other drawings. And, it had more comments like, oh, that's cool, blah, blah, blah. And, yeah, man. After that, I got over it. Like, a whole year, just like I was like started deleting all the stuff that I was like, yeah, this is too realistic. I'm just gonna stick to this one. And yeah, man. I just I got comfortable. Another reason why I got so comfortable. I remember I was in Tijuana. I was visiting Tijuana, and I went to the Suave with my cuñado, and we went into this little stand where this guy was doing like oil on canvas, and it was all realistic, like La Última Cena, La Virgen, Crucifijo, and all these other stuff, and it was so realistic. It's dope. So we walked in, and then mi cuñado was all, hey, anda buscando un ayudante. Y le hace el señor, no, ¿por qué? Y dice, oh, es que él pinta. And I was like, yeah, I paint, but not like this, And then the guy was like, oh, why? Let me see. What do you have? And I was like, nah, man, it's just too good. He's like, let me see. And I was showing him. He's like, nah, tú eres mejor que yo. And I was like, what do you mean? He's like, oh, you're better than me. And I was like, what do you mean? Nah, man, look at your style. This is crazy. He said, yeah, pero yo no puedo hacer dibujos de mi cabeza. Dice, tú sí. Dice, yo no puedo. Dice, yo nomás veo algo y lo duplico. Dice, pero tú eres mejor que yo. Tú estás haciendo de la cabeza todo eso, And I was like, damn, it hit me, because pretty much what he was saying, he's like, I don't come up with stuff. I don't, on the top of my head. Like I have to see something and then, draw it. But you're doing your own thing as original, And that was around the same year that I was like, fuck that. I'm going to get brave and just say, just going to do this style, see what happens, And yeah, man, after that I fell in love, and I was like, damn, I do have a style. That's it, Let's push it. Let's see what happens.
Bravo. Because I could barely put my name on stuff. Like when people are like, "Oh, who took that photo?" I'm like, "Oh, some dude in the building." I don't.
Why, dude? You're so good. I was looking at your pictures right now.
Thank you. appreciate
They're
it.
so good, and it's not even edit.
I
It's just
can't commit
it's
to
just
something like that.
like,
I just let it go, man. Just put it
nah,
out in the world.
dude.
Let the world have it.
Too good. It's too good to just let it go. Got to get that credit, man.
So we also, as a part of the show, put together a T-shirt, kind of a collaboration between yourself, Altura, and Prendas, who John from Altura has a clothing brand called Prendas.
Shout out, John.
Shout out to John. He couldn't be here today. Shout out to Ricky, Eastside Ricky. Tell about the image on the shirt. Tell us about your, obviously it's Chalino Sanchez. It's your portrayal of him. Tell us a little bit about that and sort of what inspired you to make it a collaboration with us. Just tell us the story of the shirt.
And the We Plan.
The We Plan. The We Plan is just, just a little symbol of just background and nothing really. It's just cool. It's just Mota's good. So
Motivation.
It's, Motivation.
It's health. It's medicine.
But the shirt, man, I came up with the image because I'm a big fan of Chalino. Like I was saying, I really like the way that dude puts his lyrics together. And I don't know, man. I just love the way he puts his lyrics together and his songs and how he can go. I remember when my brother used to listen to Chalino, he would just play the corridos and all the hardcore shit. And I was like, damn, that's cool, good stories, dope corridos. And then he must have been going through like a heartbreak because then out of nowhere, like I heard a Spanish song, then a love song, by Chalino. And I was like, what the fuck? Like that's Chalino, dude? And then that's when I started digging more into like his lyrics and, just who he was. And the dude is a beast, man. Like he was badass poet, man. So I came up with the image because, big fan. And I was like, I need to do something with something, I don't know, like an image of Chalino. So I did that image. And then after that, I was like, I don't want to release this on my own. Like I just thought of people that like Chalino, and people that music sometimes has been playing around homies and shit like that. And having the show coming up, I thought of, Diego and Ricky, to be honest, I was like, yo, Diego, what do you think of this, And he said, yo, that can be the collab. And I was like, shit, let's do it. And then right away I thought of Ricky too. And I was like, yo, what about Ricky? Let's maybe ask him. He's like, shit, let's do it. Yeah. And then, it was just organic after that. He just, everybody had to okay it. And yeah, man, I don't know. It's just Chalino is just dope, dude. He's just really dope. I can just read his lyrics. I don't even have to listen to the dude, he's that dope. I think people know the common shit, but if you dig into his old stuff and his old corridos, just the way he was putting that, like I was saying earlier, only someone Mexican could have done that, because the way he's talking, like it's Mexican slang, and then, someone Colombian and Puerto Rican. Not saying that they're not dope, they're hella dope. But what I'm saying is like, I love embracing that shit. Like I love hearing it and just getting inspired by those roots that I grew up with,
And he's telling stories, similar to the way you're telling stories about like
we're born the same day too.
Oh, crazy.
Yeah.
It's your birthday
B-Day twin.
But he's kind of like singing about what's happening around him, like in his environment, the same way NWA did, with their stuff. So yeah, amazing.
The only thing, like I was saying, is like, not taking away anything from NWA, they're fucking dope, but they weren't making love songs that were fire. You know what I mean? Like Chalino's, dude, he will give you some fucking NWA.
Chalino was emo.
Yeah. And then he'll give you some Drake, you know what I mean? Because that's how dope it was. Like Drake is dope at rapping, but I think his love songs are more of a hit. So it's like, they give you some NWA and then Drake. Like that, nobody's ever done that. You know what I mean? Chalino, yeah, bro, you can hear some fire corrido. You're like, this is crazy. Like, this is brutal. Like, you shouldn't play this around your family because they're going to be like, what? But, and then he'll give you a love song that is just killer. It's just probably one of the best ones you've ever heard.
Chalino was a sensitive gangster.
Yeah.
He wasn't hard, like chest puffed out hard.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, what's also cool to kind of mention is Prendas, Ricky and John's clothing brand is actually, the name is inspired by Prenda de mi alma, which is a Chalino song. So it's
You
on the
came
back
up
of
with
the
that.
shirt.
You came up with that, right?
That was actually
They're giving you the credit, bro. Just don't
Actually, I
don't be
did.
that. Don't be nice like
no. It was a
It was
drunken night.
organic.
See, none of us
It
can
was-
give each
I
like
know,
give ourselves
man.
It
credit.
was meant to happen.
That's how
hell, bro?
Altura doesn't give itself credit.
It's cool because the lines are blurred with a lot of collaborations, but that's just, that's what's cool about it. We're just friends like that. We're just around each other like that. And I'm down with, and that's kind of how the shirt happened. Like, it was just super simple. Like, oh, this is the image in the front. This is the image in the back. We all fuck with it. We're all cool with it. We all identify with it. And yeah, welcome to Altura. That's what we are.
We all have little pieces of something in there. Well, I mean, speaking of music and what also you're known for is your animations, your music videos. I'm a fan. I've been a fan. I mean, I'm a fan of the Arcs, the Leaksiders, all that stuff. You probably I'm tasked with cutting all of the visuals here at Altura. You gave me the easiest job in the world. Basically, just download all your music videos and cut them all together and then put them in a loop. But it was cool. It was kind of cool to kind of go back through all of those to kind of see like the evolution. But also after talking to you about storytelling, your stories were in there. I mean, directing, usually people think, oh, that has to involve film or video. The animations had stories as well. Go through that process. And I mean, do you realize and do you understand like how big of a deal like making these music videos for these bands is?
Yeah, yeah, man. I think is honestly, dude. Like I just get that freedom, and then again, I do some research, and then when I know exactly what I'm gonna do with animation, then I'm like, all right, fuck it, this is what I'm gonna do. But when it comes to videos like the Lakesiders or the one I did for Aaron, dude, honestly, like I don't have experience on that. Like I didn't go to school for that, so I didn't know that you have to make.
Well, you didn't go to school for anything, right? You
Right,
just-
for anything. But I'm just saying, music videos is like
Because you're a pretty good artist.
Thank you. No, but I'm just saying, like videos that that people would tell you they went to school for that. They're like, if you get paid, by a record label, they're gonna pay you pretty good, man. So you don't want to fuck up, So you have to know something, and I didn't know anything. I just know people that have gear, and I'm like, let me borrow a camera. And then the band or the people in the video are like, well, what are we doing? I don't know. I think I have an idea of something, and then I just do it. So it has worked for some reason, man. I don't know. I think when it comes down to it, like I'm going to record, I think I like my ideas, and I'm like, okay, I start, picturing everything. But I know for sure, like on the Aaron video, one of the last ones I did, it was like that, dude. It was like freestyling, like crazy. Just like, oh shit, do this. Oh shit, do that. And
that's with friends' houses.
That's why
kickbacks.
that's why it was easy because they're all friends. Everybody in the video.
But see, that's the thing. I think for anybody doing video doesn't understand that, or photo, directing people or making people feel comfortable and making them seem comfortable on camera is hard. It's harder than you think.
I bet.
But for that video, everybody looked super comfortable. Everybody looked like they were just having fun, like they were themselves, and I think that was conveyed pretty well. But no, that stuff's hard. I mean, we just finished doing a photo shoot for the shirt,
Right.
and even that was for me, it's nerve wracking, right? Like, I mean, I did the photos and did the video, but that's nerve wracking. To meet a girl, and within 10 minutes of meeting her, I have to help her make her feel comfortable so we can do this photo shoot. We got it done. She was a sweetheart. But yeah, I mean, kudos to you, man, for putting all that stuff together, involving people. Going through that, I guess that flow from directing humans to directing your animations. Which one's easier? I assume animation.
Excuse me. Animation, sometimes I do use people as references, So I do hire models to make certain movements, and male and female. Like, just okay, I need somebody to, because the thing is like I don't know every shape when you walk. I just know the popular one. You know what I mean? The one everybody draws, and the one you probably see the most because everything else is blurry or too fast. So I do hire people for that. It's like, I want to do this motion, this movement.
Oh, so you record video of them.
Mm-hmm. Pictures too, everything. Just like, you stand here, I'm here with the camera, I'm here with, and you just do this. And then once you slow it down or you have a picture of it, you're like, oh, okay, that's the shape that when you turn, that's the one that you're supposed to draw, because that, and it's sometimes a weird, ugly shape. And you never would have pictured that because you're always trying to be like, oh, I need to make it look cool, but within that cool, there's a lot of bad ones.
These motions that you're talking about in the music video that you use for the animations, are these motions related to like the music that's playing in the video? Like, do you hear the song of the video before? That way you find inspiration with the music?
For sure, yeah, I do. I play the song and then, I picture something like I just want something like this. One of those was funny. Was one of those moments like that I was like, damn, on this part of the song, it would be really cool if somebody just spins and jumps into dancing. And it was for the Aaron video. I don't remember what part, but I just remember thinking like, this will be so dope. And it's so cool because it happened organically. Like when I was doing the video, I remember telling Melissa, can you go in and dance and just go in on this part, just go in and dance. And she fucking spun and went in and danced. And I was like, fucking shit, dude. So, people don't see that, but I do, like you're saying, like I play the music and I think of movements or certain things that people should be doing. And it was weird. That was fucking weird. I was like, damn, she spun and started dancing. And I was like, damn, that's what I was picturing. That's crazy. So, yeah, to answer the question, yeah.
So do you like at times direct or all the time directing them in what you...
Yeah, I direct, but at the same time, it's more like just be you because, they're friends. So it's really easy because I know their characters. Like, just be you when you're doing this.
Do you play them the song?
Yeah, oh, for sure. Yeah. I play the song so they can get an idea, Like the Lakesiders, for example, for that video, I was like, it's super chill. I already like the way they dress. Just, I remember just thinking, just walk this way. And they're like, oh, okay, just walking. I'm like, yeah, but it fits the vibe. Like, I don't, because the song is so good that I'm like, I don't want to put too much shit because then it's gonna take away from the song. Like, you know what I mean? You can put anything on that song, dude, and it'd just be dope. So I wanted it to be really chill. Just like, you guys just walk and you're singing, everything's chill. We might have like a dramatic little part, and that's when the, guitar, but other than that, I just wanted long shots, just chill, just enjoy the song and, this person.
Yeah, you tell those artists. They don't know what they want. You tell them.
No, it's
you want to walk.
It's hard.
You want to walk.
It's hard, especially because when I first got the first gig for the Arcs, I was like a year in, dude, or a year and a half in, Instagram. And that was like my platform. It's still my platform. And people were, starting to get to know me and shit. And so I was really new when they contacted me, when Dan contacted me, the singer. And he's like, I'm working on a project, like, I want you to come and check it out. I have this idea. And I was, oh, cool, sure, for sure, I mean, I was really hyped. I knew about his work before the Arcs.
His other smaller band.
Little band, the Black Keys or something.
Sure. Right. Dan Auerbach, for those just wondering what Dan he's talking about.
Yeah, Dan from the Keys. So he contacted me, and the way he brought me in, it was the same way he would bring in a drummer or a guitarist or a bass player. We'll play him the music and say, this is what I have in mind, but, obviously you do you. So it was the same way. He was just like, yo, this is what I have. I don't have a name for it yet, but it's just a lot of homies. Just go at it. And I was like, cool. And it was like that, dude. I can never talk to anybody else, and dude has, a lot of people under him, and it was just direct contact with Dan and, smoking and chilling and playing music. And I was like, cool. And I just got spoiled because I would tell it to friends, even my other friend named Dan who's here, I would tell him this is the way I worked. And he's like, what? Like, what are you talking about? That's not normal, because he's involved in the, what do you call it? Illustration and stuff like that. So he knows that he's gotten gigs before like that. And he's like, what? That's not normal. And it's like, yeah, man, like, so after that, dude, I just, got spoiled and I was like, this is the way I want to work with everybody else, So yeah, man, when I work with people, it's a little bit hard because, like you said earlier, like, they're getting an artist, and yeah, that's the way I go in. I'm not a company, I'm an artist. It's like, again, like the same way you would bring a drummer or a bass player you love. You know what I mean? You're not bringing in a company to do your cover. You're bringing in an artist. Now, if you don't like the product, then that's cool, but I'm not going to be treated as like a company, you know what I mean? Because I don't work like that with anybody. I mean, I'm an artist. So yeah, it's you know, it's a little bit hard at times.
Yeah, it's like he wanted to connect with you. He wanted to like get a vibe. Like you guys chilled out. That's I mean, that's cool.
Yeah, no,
I mean,
for
that's
sure.
where it turns into collaboration more than
Yeah.
you're working for me.
Well, you
Yeah.
add to their project, in my opinion. Like,
Thank you.
You give their project a visual representation that adds to it, which is really dope. And I think, yeah, I mean, you could tell. I mean, they keep hitting you up. Well, how many,
Yeah.
you know, how many folks have you worked with? That's really dope.
Right. Yeah. No, for sure. Yeah. And but yeah, dude, it was like I was saying, like really kind of organic, you know, like obviously because, you know, I was working directly with the band, you know. So I remember telling them, it's like, yo, man, like, I'm glad you hit me up and I know who you are, but I don't just want to give my art to anybody. Like, I want to have that respect, you know, towards my art, not me. Like, I want my art to be respected. I don't want to just share with random people. That's when I was like, let's collab, let's know each other, so this thing comes out naturally and organic. And I think that's what you see, Diego, probably, you know, that you're, because there was that connection, you know. So I try to do that with every band that I work with. Let's hang out at least one day or two, talk about it. I get to know who this person is, and you know, you get to know their character. And you're like, this, you might like this, you know what I mean?
Are you also the type of person, you kind of strike me like you are, because I am this way, but are you also the type of person to play one song on repeat for like,
Bro.
for like a week?
Yeah. Yeah. People, yeah. I remember when I was a kid, dude, my mom used to hate it. My sister used to hate it. But yeah, bro, I played. And then sometimes it's like, if I hear it and I'm about to get home, dude, I fucking keep driving. I'm like, nope. You know, like.
Let it ride.
Until it ends.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think that's probably why you work so well with musicians, because you want to really, I get the sense you want to feel their music in like a deeper sense. You're not the type maybe to listen to their song a couple times, be like, okay, I have an idea. No, you want to like live in that world for a while and, you know, make it one of your awesome pieces. So that's really dope. No, that's cool. I don't think I would ever ask you that, but I'm like that too. I could play a song for like a week.
Yeah.
I leave the same song in my car for like a week, and I, like you said, sometimes get home early. I sit in my truck for like 30 minutes.
Yep. Yeah, dude. Yeah, music.
It's always the best when you're pulling up right to your house and the song's ending right on time.
Yeah.
You're like, yes.
Yeah. Yeah. I always do that. I was like, oh, let it finish. Just time it, like go slow, and then you're like, all right, cool.
So I mean, I this show is up for another week. You know, is it another week? My time's off.
I think we still have
2 weeks.
Couple
2
weeks. Yeah.
My time's off. But I mean, after Altura, you know, what's next? Where are we gonna see you? Are we gonna see you in your music videos?
Yeah, for sure, man. I'm working on a lot of things, man. A lot of new things, and
Follow his Instagram. What's your IG?
El Oms EL lower dash, yeah, and then OMS lower dash. But yeah, man, I think I got a lot of things that I'm working on, you know, by myself. I'm not working. I just did my last video for the Hermanos Gutierrez, but that's it. You know, like they're really cool fucking people. So I was like, all right, I'll do it. You know, for these dudes, they're amazing people, amazing musicians too. But yeah, man, other than that, dude, I'm focusing on myself. Like I'm working on a project with my boy right here, Dan, and also Diego, you know, something that we can't really talk about right now. And then I'm working a lot with my boy right here, Dan. Like that's why, you know, I'm chilling with him, and we've been working on. I have this, I don't want to say this album, but there's music that I'm collaborating with. So I used to make beats like back in 2010, and I think I only did it for a year, and I put the music away. I just, you know, they're on CDs, and I just never did anything with them. They were just collecting dust. And I met this dude from a band called Evolve, Ralph, plays the keys, and I was like, this motherfucker's dope, and you know, he's really really good at keys and guitar. And then we started talking. And I was like, just like, yeah, you're dope, dude. He's like, yeah, man. He's all, I bought some of your tapes before. Like, you made mixes. Yeah. He's like, yeah, man, you have really good music. Let me send you some of my tapes. I was like, hell yeah, send them my way. Started hearing his music, his taste in music, and it was not far from my taste in music. So I was like a little bit like, embarrassed to show people some of these beats, and they're cool, but they're just like loops and like certain, it goes everywhere at times. But I was like, I know Ralph, he's a good dude. Like we became good friends, and I was like, I like his music. I think I'm going to show him, just explain to him. So I did. And, actually I talked to him. I'm sorry. I told him about it. And then I sent it to him. And then I was like, dude, do whatever you want with them. And he came back, he mastered them. He had it like keys, and dude, they sound so good, man. So I really want to put out that project and do a lot of visuals to some of those songs. So they sound super cinematic, and some are just like tropical vibes, because I was sampling a lot of like music from Colombia and Jamaica, so it's real tropical. So that's for sure one thing that I'm like pretty excited about. I don't know how big it's gonna be, but I'm pretty excited to put that out. I have. You guys want to hear a little track on the mic?
You want me to beatbox?
Play that shit.
Give you a little tease. I was recording it.
Do you already know?
I was showing my boy right here.
Acapella, just do it.
And I was
Acapella,
like,
dude.
Do you already have visuals in your head for the song?
Yeah, dude. Yeah, for
I'm sure you do.
There's some that I'm like,
The music video was done before the beat.
That's one.
Oh, exclusive.
See, next one.
World premiere.
Super dubby.
Ooh.
Okay.
Next one. Little cumbia vibe. All right.
Damn, he's adding another weapon in his arsenal.
That's why when you were asking me, Adrian, I was like, nah, dude, I'm just a creative person. I think I'm known for sure for my images, but I don't know, man. I think next year I want to start doing more. I want to make a short film, so I don't know, man. Maybe that would be the next thing.
Damn, leave some.
You could do the score. You could do the score and the film.
Yeah, for sure. Because with this music, I'm like, this is really cinematic. Like, this is dope.
All I'm left with is just raising my kid. Come on.
All original art and music by El Oms.
Yeah. So maybe the next Altura was like the premiere of that or something.
Starring El Oms, directed by El Oms, edited by El Oms, cable guy El Oms.
Jalacables.
Jalacables El Oms. The buffet called El Oms.
Right. Well, dude, congratulations on just for me being stuck and not stuck, but collaborating with other artists constantly for work kind of leaves you no space to do stuff for yourself. You finally found time and space to do stuff for yourself, which is very hard for somebody that's doing it as a job. We all got bills to pay, but to do it creatively, it's kind of nice. But to do something creatively for yourself, I think, is usually the goal of a creative or an artist. And I think you found your way out a little bit, So kudos to you, man. Congratulations.
Thank you.
We're all happy for you. We appreciate you coming through.
Man, I appreciate you guys, dude. Like, just to see you guys, man, how much you guys really care for the space and how much you guys really care to show, good artists, and not just good artists. I mean, just artists and, period, just to the community. It's dope to see that, dude. So I want to thank you guys, because I did see you guys, working hard, man. So that shit right there, just alone, dude, I was like, nah, man, this is dope. I'm in the right place, to see people like that. And of course, you guys are friends, but I don't know. I think it showed. I saw it for sure. You know what I mean? Diego doing his thing, Eduardo, you, John, so I appreciate it, dude, for sure. And I'm pretty sure other artists you guys had here before probably saw the same thing, So thank you guys for creating a space that, makes you feel good, for sure.
Thanks, man.
Thank you.
Yeah, we're happy to have you.
It was an honor.
It's funny because when we opened Altura, or even before when we were talking about it or fixing it, you were always kind of someone we wanted to work with, and we talked about it early on, and we've talked about the show for probably about a year. So seeing it finally up and all of your awesome work. I think, you've even changed as an artist in that year that we were talking, and you've taken it to another level. And thank you for choosing us to show it to everyone. It's still going to be up till November 12th, where we'll be doing a closing. So stay tuned for that. But yeah, man, we're super happy to have you. And you're welcome anytime. Hit us up. Next year, when El Oms is a whole ass different new artist, we'd love to continue to work with you.
There'll be videos for
and you
sure.
know what? I just realized that you were in our inaugural show as well.
That's
so
right.
Yeah.
this is the second time.
Yeah, that's right.
This is the second time you show
That's
at
hilarious,
Altura,
dude.
technically.
That's true. Yeah. This time, yeah, man, for
Yeah.
sure. Like
Actually, you were house art for a while.
Huh?
Yeah, you were house art. Like, we had you up for a long time.
yeah,
from that
for a
first
long time.
piece.
Yeah, I was getting a lot of people like what do you call, like tagging me on there, like, oh,
Mhm.
Yeah, that piece is dope.
yeah, man, yeah, that's cool. I don't know how. I was like, oh shit, that's just still up.
Well, it's probably gonna go back up once your show's down. I mean,
You're
you've
going to
always-
continue to be a part of Altura,
Yeah.
whether you like it or not, bro.
yeah.
No, man, but thank you guys for sure. I think, like I said earlier, this is for sure. Like, this is me, dude. And if anybody that likes my work and was able to make it, like, I appreciate you a lot.
Come
Like,
see
this
the
is,
show. Make an
If
appointment.
you haven't seen the show, come through, find out.
We are here.
The hours you guys are open, and
By appointment.
Yeah,
And
we'll
follow
make it
us on
happen.
Instagram. We'll do gallery days where we just let anyone pull up. And
buy the shirt.
Buy the
support
shirt.
the local artists. Support the space. Yeah.
Thanks, dude.
thank
Thank
man.
you. Gracias.
Thank you guys.
Thank you so much for joining us for the Altura Podcast. We look forward to opening the mic to our friends and the community here in Nela. If you enjoyed the show, please tap that subscribe and like button. Without your time and support, we wouldn't be here. So please leave comments and slide into the DMs so we can evolve this program for you, our listeners. Feel free to connect with us beyond the pod on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. Once again, gracias.